Next we'll hear from Joshua Swift. Hi, Joshua.
Hello. There are currently many conflicts raging around the world. Interestingly, only one conflict has resulted in an increase in attacks on minorities here in Australia. Since October 7th, 2023, we've seen huge rise in anti-Semitism. We've seen 2 women targeted for wearing religious Islamic dress. Why do conflicts in the Middle East in particular result in these disruptions to our social cohesion and the targeting of religious groups which, in reality, have no power to control the conflict?
That's a great question, but just want to go back to you, Joshua. Have you been disturbed with what you've seen across the country?
I've been shocked. I think it's unfitting to what I thought were Australian values.
Yeah, and
Australian cohesion for a war 14,000 kilometres away to cause this much disruption.
And have you witnessed any of it?
Not personally, through media, through social media, yes.
Yeah. Tim, I mean, essentially you're saying, why does that particular conflict create this response here?
I mean, let me say I've been shocked as well. I mean, it's deeply disturbing. It's not the kind of country that I thought that we lived in, frankly. And in the role that I sit in, I look at conflicts around the world. There is a terribly intense conflict happening in Myanmar at the moment. Sudan and Congo, it's appalling. But you're right, those conflicts haven't attracted the media attention, haven't attracted the social division that we've seen here. I want to be frank and say that it has been exploited by people for political ends. People see political advantage in trying to divide our community. This is on both sides of this conflict. Leadership here requires trying to bring people together, trying to remember that we have something more in common than what divides us. We can have different views on that conflict and still recognise each other as fellow Australians with rights in our society that need to be respected.
Well, it's a very good question, Joshua, and I've been equally appalled to see the level of social division and unrest and the targeting of communities on the basis of their faith and the harassment, intimidation, menacing, most particularly the Jewish Australian community, but certainly parts of the Australian Islamic community as well. We are a multi-ethnic, multi-faith society, and the only thing that allows us all to live together harmoniously, given those differences, is the enduring respect we should all have for each other as fellow citizens and one another's rights and freedoms. And we have seen that over the last 15 or 16 months since the Hamas terrorist attacks of the 7th of October be violated on a regular basis. I think that's a failing of the political class. It's a failing of government. I'm not going to name anyone in particular, but it's a failing of leadership that we've allowed this to happen. I didn't think I'd see it in Australia, and certainly we've managed difficult foreign conflicts abroad.
What is it about the Middle East that leads to this kind of tension?
I think, look, it excites strong feelings, but so do many conflicts. But I think people feel impassioned to take a view on conflicts in the Middle East in a way that they don't with any other conflict around the world. I mean, I served as Australia's ambassador to Israel, and I always found it incredibly unusual that everyone would feel quite well informed and have quite strong opinions about a conflict that is a very complicated one that dates back to at least 1948, but possibly centuries earlier. But they would have no opinion right now on what's happening with M23 in the Eastern Congo. They would have no opinion about whether the rapid support forces in Sudan or the Sudanese government forces are in the right. So it's mobilised strong feelings here in a way that it is unusual.
Yeah.
Nothing justifies the appalling manner in which Israel has conducted its military operations in Gaza, which consistently breached fundamental principles of international humanitarian law.
I give the floor to United Nations Watch.
High Commissioner, my name is Loy Ahmed and I come from Yemen. I ask the UN, the Arab League and everyone who has been raising the Palestinian flag since October 7, where is the flag of Yemen? In my country, 500,000 people have died in the last 10 years. The biggest famine and humanitarian crisis in modern history. Why does no one care when 500,000 Yemenis die? What about Sudan? In less than 2 years, more than 150,000 people have been killed. Where is the flag of Sudan? What about Syria? 500,000 Syrians have been killed. Where is the Syrian flag? High Commissioner, why is it that when Arabs kill millions of Arabs, no one bats an eye? Where is the outrage and where are the protests? Why don't you mention the Houthis in Yemen who have spent millions of dollars firing missiles at Israel instead of feeding my starving people? May I ask why your report mentions Israel 188 times, yet fails to mention the Islamic regime in Iran even once? How can you speak about the conflict while ignoring the party that has armed, trained and funded terror proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis who have been bombing Israel thousands of times? And why is Qatar sitting here as a member of the Human Rights Council when they host the Hamas terror leaders in luxury hotels?